Christmas Day, Christmas Day. What is it today? Christmas Day,
Every now and then I get a little bit tired and I come around. Okay. Okay, we're about to begin. Hi everyone. We're about to begin, so let me just go ahead and just say some quick good evenings to those who have joined in already. All right. Let's see who else has joined us. Nadine. Welcome, Nadine. Okay, so I trust that you all can hear me, and let me bid you all a welcome to yet another one of our patient health workshops. This evening is an interesting evening because our Prime Minister is supposed to be addressing the nation this evening at 7. So we have to get started so that we can get on with the show and allow you guys to be able to view what he has to say. Um, can you just indicate for me so that I know that how many of you are actually listening from home and how many of you might actually be somewhere on the road and might not be able to hear the Prime Minister's message? Because maybe what I'll do is at the end of our presentation, once he goes live, is to stream it for you so you can just watch it here. I don't know if that's something that you'd want to do. If not, then I'll just dismiss and you can all go home. So let me just see what I can bring up here. Just give me one quick second. All right. Let me see. All right, good. And beautiful. And away we go. Good, most people are at home. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. All right, so let us begin, shall we? So this evening's topic is the 7 keys to getting and staying well. And I hope you're all hearing me well, right? So, and if you're not, please make sure that you indicate so I'm aware. So, as we're going to deal with this topic, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time going into too much fluff, but I want to make sure that you understand what it is that we're going to be discussing, because what I've come to realize is that if you have a good understanding of your what healthcare is and how to make the most out of the healthcare system, then you will be able to make wise choices for your own health and that of your family um, continuously, and you can get the most out of what the system has to offer. There are many people who misunderstand what the system is about, and so they end up getting frustrated. So hopefully we can clear up or clarify some of that as well. So we're looking at the 7 keys to getting and staying well. There are some handouts that we usually have for the class, but I haven't found a good way to be able to get you guys to have access to it in a way that you can actually fill it out and it is productive, because some people are using a computer, some people are using their phones, some people might be using their televisions, and so depending on the device you're using, your tablets, you might not be able to enter the data. Some of you might be willing to scribble. So When I figure it out, I'll start doing that. But suffice it to say, we'll begin from where we are right now. So the first secret is understanding the difference between sick care and true healthcare. Whenever we talk about the healthcare system, everybody assumes that we're talking about a system that is focused on helping people to get healthy. Well, the healthcare system is not primarily about helping people to get healthy. There are two very important roles of the healthcare system as it exists today. And when you understand those two roles, then you will understand how best to apply what it offers to your own needs. So the first thing is the system is designed to ease suffering. So if you are somebody who is suffering from an ailment, if you're suffering from pain, or if you're having some distress that is causing you some amount of dis-ease, then the system might be set up to help you to deal with that. The second thing is to save lives. The system is actually very good at saving lives. And so what you find is people with life-threatening conditions, diseases, infections, cancers, whatever, when you're in the final stages of it, I don't think anyone can argue that the healthcare system as it exists today reigns supreme in the management of persons at that end of the spectrum. And the spectrum that we speak of is the health continuum. And so when we look at the health continuum, what we need to understand is health exists on a spectrum from optimal health and vitality to illness and disease, or death and disease. So optimal health on one end, death and disease on the other end. So if somebody has a disease, they're on the lower end of the continuum. If somebody is optimally well, they're on the upper end of the continuum. So it is a slope, if you will. Going towards optimal health takes effort, so it's an uphill climb. So here's the challenge with optimal health. If you decide that you're not doing anything and you're just standing on that continuum, not working towards anything, what will happen is that you will slip downwards toward death and disease. So to move toward optimal health requires consistent effort, and this effort must be sustained. Otherwise, you will slip back down the slope towards death and disease. And so what we find is the health system, the healthcare system as it exists today, it operates best at the lower end of the spectrum, keeping people from death and trying to help them to recover from diseases. Whereas it doesn't necessarily move you up to optimal health, because optimal health requires certain lifestyle changes, like nutritional changes, like good healthy habits, which most doctors are not trained to guide their patients at that level. The training is more on disease management. And so when you understand this, you make wiser choices, I believe. So that being said, let's get back to it. So sick care is reactive. And when I talk about sick care being reactive, the healthcare system as it exists today caters primarily for the sick. And so when I talk about the healthcare system, I'm talking about sick care, sickness care or illness care or caring for the sick. Most of the focus of the system, because that's the primary target, then the system focuses on strategies and procedures that affect that population of people more so than any other. And so it is a system that cares for sick people. So the sick care system, the downside about a sick care approach is that it is a reactive approach, meaning that something has to go wrong first before any intervention is done. You cannot go to your family doctor with no ailments, no issue, and get much in the way of recommendations other than to say, continue doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? There's not much benefit outside of that one can get. Yes, you could do some blood work or some diagnostic tests, but if you have no issues, if you have no sign of a disease or any symptoms of any disease, then what are they going to test? Sometimes they recommend a routine blood test because there are things that one can find in your blood that might indicate the presence of a disease. But that's early detection, not prevention. And reactive is the downside of this system because something has to go wrong first. But beyond that, true healthcare is proactive. True healthcare is proactive. And what do we mean by true healthcare is proactive? If you want to have the chance of optimizing health, then the approach that you will have to take is a preventative approach. Because if you're going to wait until something goes wrong before you act, chances are by the time you act, things have already gotten to a place where either A, you may have a disease that you cannot reverse, or you might be in a situation where you start suffering. And so optimal health is not best achieved by waiting for things to go wrong first. So you have to prevent things from going wrong in the first place. And we call that type of an approach a proactive approach. And I hope what I'm saying is making some sense, right? Now, we are in a crisis when it comes to healthcare. We see it happening every single day right now with this pandemic going on. I won't say what it's a pandemic of, but it's a pandemic that's going on right now. And what we can say is this, that there are shortages in hospital as far as accommodation, bed space, and so on and so forth. This has always been the case, by the way. This is not something new. I don't know why people have short-term memory. The hospitals have always been overcrowded and oversubscribed. We have already, from the get-go, a shortage of beds in hospitals. We also have too many people who are sick. And if we want to have a chance of optimizing one's health, or a chance of not overcrowding the hospitals at the very least, then we have to make sure that we reduce the number of sick people. No other approach makes sense. Building more hospital rooms, putting in more beds is not going to solve the problem of overcrowding in our hospitals. The only thing that can solve the problem of overcrowding is preventing people from getting sick. At least this is something that I am in full agreement with as far as with the medical system as it is concerned. It is how we achieve this that I'm in total disagreement with. Because what we know is that if we want to prevent people from getting sick, we have to optimize their health. There's only one way to optimize your health, and that is, well, two ways to optimize your health. One is give your body things that it needs in the amounts or the quantities that it needs them. For example, nutrients. You have to make sure you have enough vitamins and minerals that your body needs, all of the ones that it needs in order to express good health, and nothing that it doesn't need. All the macronutrients, all the micronutrients. And the second thing is you have to prevent toxins from entering the body that can harm the body. Toxins, for example, chemicals that we ingest, either things that we put on our skin, put into our bodies by way of eating or injecting. Medications are toxins, and so one cannot obtain optimal health while being on medication. So if you're somebody on medication right now and your goal is achieving optimal health, let me just say this and burst your bubble right now, that optimal health cannot be achieved while you're on medication. The reason it is impossible to achieve optimal health while you're on medication is that all drugs are poisons. Every single medication that you're given is a poison. And your body detoxifies it if it has to go into your bloodstream through the liver, if it goes to your digestive system, or it goes to your kidneys to excrete. All drugs have to be detoxified. And so your body cannot achieve optimal health if you're on medications. Now, it's not to say that one might not be temporarily placed on medications while one is in pursuit of optimal health, because that is possible. And in fact, that's the situation that many people find themselves in. You may have to be on a medication temporarily while you are doing things to repair damaged areas in your body so that you can eventually get off these medications and achieve optimal health. But you cannot achieve it while you're still on the medication. I hope that makes sense, right? So the number one reason for people to be in hospitals is because of choices that they make, lifestyle choices, what they eat, what they put into their bodies, the stresses that they expose themselves to on a regular basis. These are the things that will cause persons to end up breaking down and needing hospitalization. So the way that we prevent these things is by changing our lifestyle. If the number one cause for us to get sick is lifestyle choices, then we have to make new choices in our lifestyle in order to overcome illness or prevent ourselves from getting sick. I'll say something here, but I have to be a little bit cautious in how I say it, right? Because we have a silence culture or a cancel culture that exists, and if you say the wrong thing, those in power will use their power to suppress you, right? And to I don't want things that I put up to be taken off, so I have to be careful what I say. But if you want to prevent yourself from getting an infection, any infection, we have what is called an immune system. This immune system was designed by God Himself, the creator of the universe, designed this system for the primary purpose of overcoming or helping the body to overcome any exposure to any virus, bacterium, pathogen, cancer, any of those things. That's what your immune system is designed to fight. Now, the notion that our immune systems cannot adequately protect our bodies from any infection is absurd. Not only is it absurd, but in my opinion, it flies in the face of God. Because God is the one who designed our immune system. Now, let's back up a little bit, because I have to also say this. That if you do not care for your immune system, and you do not do the things required for your immune system to operate at a level that is adequate for your protection, then you are in trouble. Now, there is a power cut right now. I see that I'm still online, so that's why everything looks kind of weird right now. But if you give me a moment, I'm going to try to start our generator, unless somebody turned us off. I'm going to start the generator and see if we can get back to the show. So bear with me for a quick second while I start the generator. All right, I'm back. I hope that you are all still there. Please excuse me one more moment. Sound like the generator is laboring. All right, let's just go ahead. If it cuts off, it cuts off. All right, so here we go. Let me see where you're at. Are you guys still there? All right, let's move forward. So let's continue, right? So the reason we get ill is because we're not doing the things required to be healthy. And there are many things that we do that is counterproductive to health. The unfortunate reality is that the medical system as it exists will try to convince the world that what man has made is better and more effective than what God has made. I'll leave it at that, all right? Because I don't want to get kicked off the air. All right, let's continue the work, shall we? So when we look at the whole issue of how do we change our lifestyle in a way that allows us to be healthy, the way that we change how we live is by changing how we think about life. So it is our thought processes that cause us to behave in a particular way. If we view the world in one way, our actions will follow. If you believe that man is insufficient and that the only way for man to be healthy is by taking some potion or some lotion, then we're going to constantly be in this problem that we're in, where we're easily taken advantage of. So when I say a potion, what do I mean? A potion is anything that you put into your bodies, right? It might be something you inject or it might be something you ingest. A lotion is something you put on your skin. It might be something you rub on or something you put on topically to whatever. So the healthcare system as it exists primarily focuses on lotions and potions. That comes from somewhere historically, right? But what God has said is that He has given us everything that we need for life and godliness. And it's through a knowledge of Him who called us. So the world that God gave us with the plants and all the fresh water, fresh air, these are the things that will help us to be healthy. And if we tap into what God has given us, then we will express good health. If we go instead of eating produce, which is things that are in the section of the supermarket where things have to be harvested, that's where you're going to see health. But if instead of going to produce, you're going to products, that's where you're not going to get healthy. And when I go to the supermarket, I shop primarily in the fruits and vegetables section. I get very few things from inside the supermarket shelves because there's very few things that are in there that's actually good for you. I might get some oats in there. I might get some nuts or some seeds or something from somewhere in there. But primarily, most of the things I shop for are in the produce section. And I do that because I understand that in order for me to be healthy, I need to behave a particular way. So here's the mindset. The illness way of thinking is, what can I take to feel better? What's a better way of thinking is, instead of thinking what I can take to feel better, if you ask yourself, what do I need to do in order to fully get better? That is a much preferred position to have. How about this one? getting well. You know, like some people want to have this get well soon mentality, like they go to the hospital with a card that says get well soon, that they give to their friends or family members. The whole get well idea is it's about a wish, a desire, a hope, a dream, if you will. Wellness is not a dream. Wellness is something that you have to pursue. And not just pursue for the short term, but continuously. So rather than simply wishing to get well, you have to ask what you need to do in order to maintain that. So you want to say, what do I need to do in order to stay well? Because it's choices that you have to make, and you have to continuously and consistently make it over a period of time in order to achieve or attain it. So that's the first thing. Very important. The next thing, very important. The next thing is to stay alive. Many people measure how well the system is doing by how long people live. Look here. Let me burst everybody's bubble right now. You can be the healthiest person in the world and die tomorrow. Because life and death has nothing to do, or very little to do, with your health. Life and death has more to do with God and when He's ready to call you home. If He's going to call you home by a bus accident, a car crash cannot kill you. If He's going to call you home by cancer, a gunman shooting you cannot kill you. However you're going to be called home is how you're going to be called home. And you can be as healthy as an ox. If it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. So life and death is not determined by how well we live or how well we eat. Life and death, because I see a lot of people who are unhealthy, but they live a long time. I see a lot of people who are fairly healthy in how they eat and live, and they die pretty quickly or die young, relatively speaking. So it is not about how long you live. It is the quality of that life. Because one thing that is almost guaranteed is this, that if you live a good quality life, in terms of the lifestyle choices that you make, if you eat healthily, you are exposed to good clean water, good clean air, and you're not overstressed, then what you find happening is that your quality of life will far exceed those persons, on average certainly, that are not eating or living the way you are. So for example, for me, if you hear that I die next year from some ailment, just know this: I would not have been suffering for long, because I'm pretty healthy and I have a very good active lifestyle. I experience a very high quality of life because of the choices that I make. But if I'm in a car accident, I can go. And that's the reality. So instead of just simply saying how long people stay alive, what you should be focused on is how long you can feel alive. Not how long you stay alive, but how long you can feel alive. Because the quality of that life is way more important than how long you're actually living. And so when we look at it, instead of the illness model of thinking, which is feel, get, stay, we want to instead think about stay, get, stay, feel. Instead of feel, get, stay, feeling better, getting well, staying alive, we want to get better, stay well, and feel alive. That's more important. The question is pain a good thing or a bad thing? And that is something that we often have to ask ourselves. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? The answer is it depends, because it depends on how you want to look at it. But the reality is that pain has a purpose. And the purpose of pain is to alert us that something has gone awry and needs our attention. That's the purpose of pain. Now, the way pain works best is by getting our attention. If pain didn't hurt, it would not get our attention. So it's hard to say that the pain of pain is the bad thing about pain, because the pain of pain is what makes pain so effective. But the problem is that you can't trust pain to tell you all the time when something is wrong, because sometimes things can go wrong. Sometimes things can go wrong. Sometimes things can go wrong I got distracted there for a moment. But sometimes things can go wrong and there's no pain to alert us or warn us that it has gone wrong. And so this is something that we have to come to terms with, because it's not all the time that we're going to have pain to let us know that something is wrong in our bodies. And so if you recognize that, you make good choices. If you recognize that, you make good choices, right? Rather than waiting for pain to alert us. So my recommendation to people is this: do things that you know are good for you to do, rather than continuing to do bad things and then waiting for pain to alert you that something is wrong, because pain may never tell you that something is wrong. By the time you recognize that something is wrong, it might be too late. So that is something that I want you to realize. All right? Let's move forward. Having good health and feeling good are not equivalent to each other, because there are many people who feel good but are not well. If you want to know if you're doing well, you have to be functioning properly. Healthy function means good health. Not feeling good equals good health. Healthy function equals good health. And so in order for us to get our functions well, we have to make choices that promote a healthy function. You make choices that promote a healthy function, you have a much better probability of having a healthy function. If you're doing all the things necessary to have good healthy function, then even if you have a disease, your body should be able to overcome that disease. And if it cannot overcome that disease, even while you're doing everything necessary to promote good health, then there is nothing else that can bring about good health. You see, the good thing about the healthcare system is that it is there for emergency purposes only. So if you're in a car accident or something traumatic happens, that's when it shines. But when you're having diabetes and you're about to lose a limb because of diabetes, the problem is not that the body has broken down. The problem is that you have poisoned your body long enough that your body no longer can express good health. And so if it is your choice, and hear me well, if it is your choice to eat poorly, to rest inadequately, and to live in a constant state of alarm, then when your body breaks down, then you are the perfect person to go and be a participant of the healthcare system. That system is designed for you. It's not designed for people who live an optimal healthy lifestyle. It's designed for people who make poor choices in life. And so when you see people with cancers, people with heart disease, and people with diabetes, trust me, it's because they made bad choices in life and continue to make bad choices. If it is, however, that you are not satisfied or pleased with hearing me say this, please look into it for yourself and see if I'm telling the truth or not. There are some people who think themselves to be doing the right thing, but really some of you don't have a clue what the right thing is. And that's why we want to try to wake everyone up so that we can make better choices for ourselves. I see people making bad choices, and when you tell them about it, they are surprised that it's a bad choice. You have people who are eating all this pastry as often as they can, and they don't realize that it's not good for you. I know a lot of people who are vegetarians who eat a lot of junk food. That's not good for them, because French fries, believe it or not, is vegetarian. You can eat French fries while you are a vegan and still be considered a vegan, though you know that French fries are not that healthy for you, or onion rings, or any of those types of things, because of the oil and those kinds of things that you will know that are involved. Of course, there are healthier ways to produce everything, right? So that's having been said. But having good health and healthy function are synonymous, and we must learn to start trusting how our bodies are functioning and not how our bodies are feeling. So good choices are important. These are the different things that can, the different systems of the body that exist. So I'm going to try to see if I can show you a little bit more of a close-up each of these systems. So the immune system, digestive, cardiovascular, the integumentary system is for the skin and all the coverings, the respiratory system, endocrine system, reproductive system, excretory system, musculoskeletal system, and the nervous system. These are all the systems of the body. And these systems are the systems that we need to be paying attention to with everything that we do as far as the foods that we eat and the choices that we make. Because if we do things to hurt these systems, then we get sick, we break down. I gotta hurry now because we're running short on time. The nervous system is made up of the brain and spinal cord, and all the nerves that exit the spine have to control the different functions of the body, the different organs. Now, the nervous system is considered to be the master control system of the body. A spinal misalignment, which is called a vertebral subluxation, is what causes misalignments to occur. And these misalignments of the spine is what will cause the body's function to break down. Now, when the nervous system breaks down in its normal, appropriate function, the way it impacts us is not that the body stops working, but it stops working properly. So you will find that instead of your heart no longer beating, your heart might beat very rapidly. This might be the example of so many people who end up with traumas that mess up their bodies, right? So you find that it's not that your body stops digesting your food, but it's not digesting it as well as it used to. It's not that you find that you're not able to pass your feces. It's just that you can't do it on a regular basis. It's not that things will stop, but things will slow down or things will speed up in a way that makes it inappropriate for what is required by the body to be healthy. Whenever this happens, it's usually as a result of a dysfunction, which is usually as a result of a miscommunication between the brain and the different organs or parts of the body. What you might not know is that it is the brain that governs and controls all the functions of the body. Every single function is regulated by the brain. Every organ function is regulated by the brain. Now, the way that organs work is a little bit different, is that because organ functions are essential functions, the way the body works is that in order for these essential functions to continue, there's a baseline rate that they all operate on. So that even if you're brain dead, they will all still operate to some degree. However, the body doesn't operate efficiently at that one level because environments change. And so if you had to climb the stairs, for example, your heart rate will not stay at the same basal rate. It will have to change in accordance with the exercises that you're doing. So when you're climbing stairs, your heart rate has to increase. How does your heart know to increase? Because your nervous system, by way of your autonomic nervous system, tells the heart to pick up or to slow down based on what is happening. All right? So that's important. The vertebral subluxation is a misalignment in the spine. This is what a misalignment might look like. And I'll try to show you this by way of an example. So when you have a misalignment, in the misalignment, the middle bone of the spine might be out of place. Now, when that bone is out of place, you will find that it will cause the openings in the back where the nerves exit to also change in size. If this bone gets pushed back, then the space in the back closes off. This is what the nerve looks like. And if you close off that space, it may pinch on that nerve, and this is what causes what people call a pinch nerve. When the bone gets shifted out of place, it may cause the disc or the cartilage between the bone to shift out of its place. We call this a slip disc. Have you ever heard of a pinch nerve or a slip disc? That's what these things are. And if you ever wondered what causes a slip disc or a pinch nerve, it is this: vertebral subluxation. Guess which practitioner treats a vertebral subluxation? If you did not guess a chiropractor, you're not paying attention, because it's only the chiropractor that treats vertebral misalignments to correct a vertebral subluxation that will allow the body to operate at the level it is supposed to. Gotta hurry now because it's 7 o'clock. And let me tell you, if the PM is now on, news is about to start, so he's not yet on. And so that's what we do as chiropractors, and this is why we are so important in our role. Unfortunately, those who will want to suppress this information will say very negative things about our profession, and I hear it all the time. And so what you find is most of the people who end up coming to me as a chiropractor or any other chiropractor, they usually do so as a last resort because they've tried everything else and everything else has failed. So as a last resort, they come to a chiropractor. That's unfortunate, because many other things that people suffer from, they don't require medication and they do not require surgery. And by the time they come to us, if they've already done the rounds of medication, sometimes the medication causes permanent damage. There are certain medications like many steroids, corticosteroids, that will create damage in people's systems that lead to permanent disabilities that by the time they come to us, even if it was a problem that we can solve or help them to solve or resolve, by the time the medication has done taken its toll, it's too late. Also, some people, by the time they come to us, they've already done the surgeries, and sometimes the surgery is necessary, but sometimes it is not. And if it was not necessary and the surgery changed something that made your situation worse, it's hard for us to then intervene, because what we do is non-medicinal and non-surgical. So it requires a little bit more finesse, and it is hard to undo any of those chemical or surgical trauma that the body would have had to undergo. So let us continue, shall we? Stresses is what causes misalignment or issues to arise within the body. And there are 3 ways that stresses manifest: physical stress, like a car accident or a fall or some trauma; biochemical stress, like things that we put into our bodies; and psychological stress, like things that happen in our minds. These are the stresses that happen that impact the way our bodies work. I won't spend too much time on this, but if we are sick, it's because we've made changes or we've allowed our bodies to succumb to the stresses of our environment. Now, the way our bodies work is this: we have external pressures or external stresses constantly bombarding us, and we have internal resistance That is our only mechanisms to protect us. If our internal resistance is strong, then we can resist the stresses of our external environment. If our internal resistance is weak or faulty, then our external environment may overcome our body's resistance and cause us to break down. This is the primary reason for persons to get sick. Alright, so that's why we get sick. Now, adequate rest, adequate nutrition, reduction in too much stress that we're exposed to are all things that will increase or improve our internal resistance. If we are eating poorly, we're getting 3, 4, 5 hours of sleep a night, our bodies are going to break down. When it breaks down, please do not be surprised. Understand that you did this to yourself, and understand that the only chance that you have of recovery is if you make the decision to fix yourself. So if you do these things negatively that will impact you, then you have to do the positive things that will impact you in a positive way and allow you to recover. Illness and death, well, not death, but illness and disease in many instances is under our control, are under our control. And if we make wise choices, we can prevent illness and we can prevent disease. And that's what I want for all of our people to understand. So in our office, we have special technology that helps us to identify subluxations wherever and whenever they happen in the spine. So what we do is we have a rolling thermal scan which measures the skin temperature. That tells us if there is any hot spots in the spine. Whenever the spine is not working properly, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it will create hot spots along the spine that we can detect so we can know where something is wrong. The other tool is our surface electromyography, a surface EMG. This device measures muscle activity, muscle tension in the spine. And if the spine is working properly, then we have the best chance of working well. If the spine is not working properly, then that's when diseases will come in. And one of the ways that it will manifest is in the muscles of the spine not being appropriate. Sometimes you have a car accident and people are told that they have a muscle spasm, and so they are placed on muscle relaxants because the muscle spasm, they are told, is causing pain. But when I assess the spine, instead of a muscle spasm, sometimes what I find is muscle weakness. Because sometimes the trauma of the accident causes muscles to shut off their function, which is what causes joint abnormalities, which is what is leading to the person's pain. And so when they take a muscle relaxant, they don't feel any better. And so sometimes it is correct that the muscle spasm is what's happening, but not all the time. And usually in the majority of people, you have a combination happening. Some muscles are in spasm and some muscles are weaker or hypofunctioning. If you are the person that has both happening at the same time and you take a muscle relaxant, the muscle relaxant is not only going to target the muscles that are working too strong or too much, it's going to shut off all your muscles, including those weaker muscles. You won't feel pain because weak muscles don't cause pain, but weak muscles will cause dysfunction, and dysfunction can lead to significant issues. So you have to be wise in what you do. I'm a doctor of chiropractic, and chiropractic doctors, what we do impacts the function of the brain. This is one study that showed, and I'm going to just explain the study very quickly, that shows how chiropractic impacts brain function. On the left hand side right here, you'll see this diagram. It's a brain, it's a picture of a brain when the lady was asked to wiggle her left ankle, and you'll see a lot of areas of light all over that brain. The areas of light tell us where there is too much activity or a lot of activity in the brain. If she's only to wiggle her left ankle, you should not see so many areas of light. That means something is not communicating from the brain effectively to that ankle. The woman received a chiropractic adjustment and the test repeated. And what you saw in the second one after the adjustment was areas of light in only a specific region of the brain, which actually coincides to the part of the brain responsible generally for movement of a body part on the left hand side. So what you see happening is the chiropractic adjustment will cause the brain to be more efficient at how it sees the body. And that's what makes the difference, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move forward one more time because we're almost coming home now. What about chiropractic? Or chiropractic neurologist? Well, a regular chiropractor is like a general practitioner. A chiropractic neurologist is a specialist in chiropractic. So all chiropractors are trained to realign the spine, whereas we are equipped with the knowledge to retrain the brain itself. And we do this by way of exercises and therapies that we do that can target different parts of the brain. And what you see here is a list of some of these conditions that we have treated and treated with relative success for most of them. So these are things that we can treat without drugs or surgery. Our vision at Gardner Chiropractic is to identify subluxations wherever and whenever they happen, to provide a program of chiropractic care for persons so that we can address their individual needs according to what's happening with them. And that's why we examine each person first. Having done the examination, we put you on a program that's specific to your needs. I think that's why it takes a long time to see me, because I'm one of the few chiropractors, certainly in Jamaica, that actually examines their patients thoroughly before we do any kind of treatment. But all chiropractors do some amount of assessment before they treat. The majority will do what is called a chiropractic assessment, which is usually using their hands to feel the spine, to see what's happening with the spine, and then to do their treatments thereafter. I do that as well, but I do other things in addition because I find that it helps me to understand a little bit better what I need to do before I do it. And the outcomes, I think, speak for themselves. Who's responsible for your health and well-being, which is the last key, is this. The key to success in getting and staying well is for you to take responsibility for your health and well-being. It is your responsibility. And for your family's health, it is your responsibility if you are the one who is in charge of the decisions, the health decisions for your family. If you have adult kids, then it becomes their responsibility. But if you have minor kids, then it is your responsibility. So you have to make wise choices for your friends and for your family members who you have under your care. If you follow our YouTube page after you finish, make sure you subscribe to our channel and like it. Because you will find that our YouTube page has testimonials on there that are very helpful. So you can see some of the cool testimonials on there. I haven't put up any in a while. And I do that on purpose because every time I put up testimonials online, then we have more people coming to see us. And we're kind of overwhelmed already as it is. So as soon as we have an associate to come in and assist me, when we can start to really see more persons and bring down the wait time, then we'll start to put more of these testimonials up, because some of them are so humbling and so flattering. So the final slide is this. we have a very special offer for any one of you who is not currently a patient of ours, who might be interested or considering to become a patient. And if you're considering to become a patient, the first thing you have to do is to have an examination done. That examination does not make you my patient. What happens is, after I've examined you, if we have found that you have a problem, and that's a problem that we believe that we can help you to solve, then we will explain to you how that's going to happen, explain to you the costs of the care and the duration of the expected plan of action. And if you then agree to what we have suggested, that's when you become my patients and I become your doctor. So this offer is not for you to be a patient of mine. This offer is for an exam to be done. And if it is your desire to be examined and you're not yet a patient, meaning that you have not yet come in for an examination, even if that examination is tomorrow, you can still get this discount. You'll receive a 40% discount off that new patient examination. So we're going to suggest that you call our office, or you can email us at appointments@gcnjamaica.com. That's appointments@gcnjamaica.com. If you send an email there, then we'll be able to get the detailed information from you that we need to set up that appointment, and they can make sure that that 40% discount is waiting for you, so that when you do come in and pay for that appointment, you'll get that discount. All right? And we're not collecting any money tonight, so we don't want any credit card information, please. If you're an existing patient, then you'll get more things. You'll get a 20% discount off the update exam. So we put people in a program of care. At the end of that program, which is usually 12 visits, we re-examine the patient, which is what we call the update examination. The cost of that update exam is almost the same cost of the new patient exam, but you'll get a 20% discount off the entire update exam cost. If you refer somebody to the office, then you will get a 20% discount off one treatment per person that you refer. So if you refer 2 people, you'll get 20% discount off 2 treatments.